Right, hello everyone. So today I want to talk about something a bit different to my usual videos, and that's religion and God. Now, I wouldn't say that I choose not to believe in God. And if anything, I tried, because the idea is appealing, right? That there's a reason why we're here. That there's something bigger than us. And that somehow everything just makes sense. But the more I've looked into religion from a genuinely open-minded and curious perspective, the harder it becomes to believe any of it's actually true. And not because I don't want to, but I just can't find the evidence to justify it. I think there's a stereotype that atheists just outright reject religion no matter what. But for me, it's been the opposite. I'm genuinely curious about religion. I want to understand why so many people believe it. What does it offer psychologically, socially, history? I want to know. I want to understand. Because religion clearly plays a huge role in culture and human history. For me, it's worth understanding. But understanding something and believing it's true are two completely different things. And that's where I just keep getting stuck. In every other area of life, we rely on evidence. If someone makes a claim, especially a big one, we expect proof. And the bigger the claim, the stronger the evidence needs to be. And the claim that a God exists, like an all-knowing, this powerful universe creating intelligence exists, that's arguably one of the biggest claims possible. So naturally, I think you'd expect some strong, clear, and testable evidence. But instead, it's a lot of philosophical arguments, ancient texts, faith, and just personal experience. And the problem is, none of those meet the standard for empirical evidence. They're subjective, they're not independently verifiable, and they often just contradict each other across various religions. So I keep coming back to the same question. If this is true, why is there no clear, universal evidence? One thing that's always stood out to me is how many things we used to explain with religion that we can now explain with science. Disease, it used to be seen as punishment or a spiritual imbalance. Now we understand pathogens, viruses, genetics. Natural disasters were once seen as divine anger. Now we understand tectonic plates and weather systems. And that pattern is consistent. As our knowledge increases, our need for supernatural explanations decrease. And that doesn't prove that God doesn't exist, but it does raise an important point, that we don't need a supernatural explanation to understand the world anymore. And if a theory becomes less needed over time, it naturally becomes harder to justify believing in it. There's also a psychological side to this. Humans are pattern-seeking, meaning-making beings. We don't like uncertainty, we don't like randomness. So we create narratives. Religion provides a lot for people. Structure, culture, identity, community, and answers to some difficult questions. And that's powerful. People want that. But something being psychologically comforting doesn't make it objectively true. And that's a distinction I keep coming back to, because I understand why people believe it, but I don't see enough to conclude that those beliefs are accurate. And if I'm being honest, part of my difficulty with religion isn't just theoretical, it's observational. I've come across a lot of religious people. Unfortunately, most haven't reflected those values that they claim to represent. There's been a lot of judgment and inconsistencies and selective interpretations of beliefs. And I know it's not everyone, but when the behaviour doesn't match the belief system, it does make it harder to take that system seriously. Because if something is supposed to guide morality and behaviour, you'd expect it to produce consistently better outcomes. But yeah, I can admit that's more of like a personal bias coming in. I think what I want to make clear is that I'm not closed off to the idea of a God, even though I say I'm an atheist. I will say, Jesus Christ seems like a pretty cool dude. Just a lot of the stories told about being kind, helping people, standing up for people. I can see why people follow Jesus, but for me that doesn't translate into believing Christianity or even the fact that Jesus was divine. And honestly, if I ever did change my mind and start believing in God, it wouldn't be any from the religions that we know. So not the Christian God in the Bible, not Allah, anything from Islam, Judaism, because anything like that, I just don't believe those religions are true. I believe they're all man-made, shaped by culture and history and people who are just trying to figure out the world around them. If they were clear, empirical evidence, something observable, testable, repeatable, I would change my mind, like immediately, because that's what rational thinking requires. But until that evidence exists, I don't think belief is justified, because there's a difference between being open-minded and accepting claims without sufficient evidence. So where does that leave me? I'm not religious, I'm not convinced, but I'm still curious and still questioning. I'm still open to being wrong. I'm just unconvinced based on the information that we currently have. Remember, questioning religion isn't a bad thing. People should do this more. If something is true, it should be able to withstand scrutiny. And if it can't, maybe it's something we believe in not because it's true, but because it's human. Because we're human. So yeah, I'm going to leave that here for now. But I would like to do more videos about religion and God, my viewpoint on it. What could get me to change my mind? I'm very curious about what type of evidence would I need to just make me switch like that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What do you believe? Are you a part of a religion or Mother Nature? Are you anything? If you believe anything, if you don't believe anything, if you're just a hard atheist, that you think there's nothing else out there. I want to know all the different viewpoints. I find it very interesting. Just keep it respectful. Anyone being disrespectful, are you gonna go? Subscribe, like if you want, share. It all helps these videos grow and find more people, so I'd appreciate it if you do. So yeah, I will see you in the next one. So bye bye.